Welcome to another edition of First and 10 Summer Series here on KLFY Plus. I'm News 10 Sports anchor Jonathan Bulot, joined by News 10 Sports Karaski Melvin. We got Ski back, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back, Ski.
And we got News 10 Sports Andrew DeBella. And ladies and gentlemen, we are talking the Church Point Battling Bears today.
Absolutely. A team, I would say, guys, of consistency, especially with their record and frequent appearances to the playoffs. You pretty much know what you get with this team, and they've definitely been showing year after year kind of the consistency of that program.
Absolutely, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their schedule, there have many times where their opponent didn't even score more than 10 points. Consistency, you hit it right on the nail on the head right there. I mean, great team.
Yeah, it's a great culture that Rob Poole and company are building over there. We're going to be joined by Coach Poole later on in the show, as well as senior offensive and defensive lineman Jeremiah Boyd. And this guy has some power, ladies and gentlemen. He's actually a former KLFY Athlete of the Week. So,
yes,
Andrew, can you go ahead and talk to us a little bit about his powerlifting background?
Yes, so I got the pleasure to meet him before and talk to him. 710-pound deadlift. I mean, I can't even imagine picking up like 350 pounds.
Yeah, it's freak stuff.
That is insane. And what I heard, he also had a 770-pound deadlift that was in practice. But, I mean, that has to transfer over. That explains why we always see him pancaking. You know, I mean, playing O-line, D-line, and powerlift in the offseason. What an athlete, man.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he totaled 52 pancakes last season, and the offense went for about 5,000, all-purpose yards. So a really good year for Church Point. Overall, when we look at their schedule and look how the season progressed, it was a really good year for Rob Poole and company. You know, they start off the year winning 5 of their first 6 games, and then they end up dropping one to a good Northwest team that ends up going on to win District 4 3A. And, and then in the playoffs, beat a good Northwestern team, and then they fall at Lauraville by a field goal.
And that game was a shootout. And we talk about Lauraville, that's a team that knows how to win. They are quite the strong opponents there. But yeah, definitely there they've shown their will, able to get that offense going, and certainly, you know, with that O-line being able to use the ground game and stuff like that, that's definitely been helpful for them.
Yeah, and going 5-1 in their district like they did. I mean, top half, that's a good district. Northwest,
yes.
Church Point, Iota, Ville Platte. I mean, that district's got some hitters.
And it's very tightly contested. I mean, Northwest, they went undefeated in order to take the district. But Church Point only with 1 loss in district play going against the Raiders. And, Iota's snipping at the heels as well. Overall, when it comes to today's conversation that we're going to have with the Bears, what are y'all most excited about?
I'm actually interested more talking about Jeremiah and the fact of being able to balance the football and the powerlifting, amongst other things. Again, also still a student, still having to do that. So being able to work all of those things together and how essentially they kind of connect with one another. A lot of these students pretty active in different roles, but having it come together and how that helps on the football field. I'd love to also hear with Coach Poole about the influence that Jeremiah has, because certainly someone with that kind of caliber, that's probably someone you lean on as one of your leaders.
Yes, Andrew.
Yeah, and I'll have to build off of Ski. I got to talk Jeremiah during powerlifting season, pick his brain then. I'm definitely going to be happy to hear about, you know, how he's feeling with football, how that helps translate on the other end, and then talk to Coach Poole. One of my favorite things is hearing about the new and emerging leaders coming in with the freshmen and sophomores. I like to know who we can look at and who we can expect to really step up and make a difference.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, their schedule to start off the season looks fairly stout, to say the least. They're going to be on the road at Jennings to start the year on September 4th. Then following that, a home game against Louis Cook and the Notre Dame Pios.
That could be a slugfest right there.
Yeah, then you have a good chance to pick up a win against Rain. Hopefully this year Rain is able to, get their stuff together. But, I think that's a winnable game for them. And then they're at Eunice and at Iota in the following weeks. So, the first 5 weeks out of the season, you're on the road 3 times.
And I think having that kind of start to kind of have that at the beginning getting those road tests early, kind of build some momentum, build some confidence, and to see how that goes. And then once you start working into your home schedule, I mean, I think that could be a good way to start to kind of build upon the season and kind of go somewhere with it.
Yeah, and then they'll meet the reigning district champion Northwest on October 30th. and that will be at Northwest. But coming up after the break, we're going to be joined by head coach Rob Poole, the Church Point Battling Bears. Stay with us. We'll be right back on KLFY Plus. Welcome back to First and 10 Summer Series here on KLFY Plus. We are now joined by the head coach of the Church Point Bears, Rob Poole, entering year 6 with the program. He started off in 2020 as the defensive coordinator, in year 3 as the head coach. First off, Coach Poole, thank you so much for joining us.
No, we appreciate you having us.
Absolutely. So let's just go ahead and just start off with the summer. How's things going so far with workouts and everything going on in the offseason with the program?
We don't do a spring practice because almost all of our kids are multi-sport athletes. So we let them get through May, and then we start in June. So, we're a little behind in terms of scheme, but I feel like our weight room session is set up year-round, so we're never really in an off-season setting because they're working out year-round. So our kids are really good at coming to work, so we've had really good attention to detail this summer. People are showing up every day, getting 3 days a week. We're in the weight room, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then on Tuesday, we're going to St. Thomas More or Karen Crow and playing 7-on-7. And then when we go to Karen Crow, we bring our linemen with us, and we do one-on-one pass rush and team pass rush and stuff like that. So been pretty pleased with the effort we've had so far.
Outstanding. Go ahead, Ski.
Can you talk about the fact that you players are versatile in different sports, different disciplines? How important is it to have these guys who are like able to do multiple things, and how that can kind of translate onto the football field?
So like if you're a baseball kid, you're playing tracking balls in the air. So like if we find a guy that's a baseball kid, then it's a lot easier for him to track deep balls at receiver or play DB because he's used to doing that. He's used to taking good angles to get to the ball. If you're a power lifter like Jeremiah is, he's used to he's been in the weight room extra, so he does his workout with football, then he stays and does his powerlifting workout, so he's strong. Our kids that are basketball kids, they understand space and leverage and things like that because they have to play man-to-man or they have to spread the field out or spread the court out. So I feel like all sports translate. And so whatever skill you have in football, if you're playing another sport, it gives you another kind of ways to develop your skills as an athlete. We ask kids all the time, are you an athlete or are you a football player? I'd rather have athletes because if you're playing sports year-round, you've got something you've got to do every day. So you're dedicated to coming to another sport. Well, that's the type of people I want around us. I feel like some of our best athletes have been 3-sport guys, because they had something throughout the year to keep them dedicated to coming to school and doing what they need to do as a student, but also they're getting coached by different personalities. They're learning how to be well-rounded.
Makes a lot of sense. Go ahead, Andrew.
And then are there any like freshmen, sophomores that are really stepping up right now that you're watching go and you're like, man, this guy is someone we need to watch, someone we need to plug and play into a leadership position as fast as we can?
So I felt like my first year as head coach, we had to play a lot of young guys when Jeremiah was a freshman. And then the next year, I think we started 8 sophomores and 5 freshmen. So last year, we really didn't have to bring in many freshmen that played. But we were able to have a separate PE class for our freshmen. So like when we got later into like October, we could take those freshmen and start the off-season workout. So they were like 2 weeks ahead of our varsity kids. So we really developed some athletes. So like Dalen Leger is playing some running back. Eli Barus is playing some nickel corner for us. Sam Venable and Whit Stelly are really good athletes at running back and wide receiver and DB. MJ Logan has done a really good job catching the ball down the field for us. So those are all sophomores. They were in our program. They got a leg up on the off-season workouts, and then they were in the system last year. And I think it's a credit, too, to our middle school program. Like our middle school grew with Coach Pace, and then we hired a new coach right now, but we really grew our program in the middle school, and those guys are used to working. So when they come in, they already know the system. And so our JV is getting equal reps in the summer with Karen Crow and St. Thomas More. So those are all ways to develop those guys so we create some depth on the team.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about last season. I mean, the regular season for y'all was very stout. Only 2 losses in the regular season. You go all the way to the second round of the playoffs and fall by a field goal to a really talented Lowerville squad. Kind of what was your assessment of the year and what the team was able to accomplish?
Well, I felt like, Marksville was really athletic and in a spread team. That's one game that we dropped. And then the other one was Northwest, which we felt like with Northwest, we were up early. And then I probably got a little vanilla calling plays in the second half. And then they were really athletic. So they're also a spread team. So I felt like looking at our schedule last year, the teams that beat us were spread teams that are athletic. So we have to bulk up our non-district schedule and try to get a little bit more battle tested before we get in the playoffs. So when we made the schedule for this year, we added Jennings, who's triple option, who does a good job and is really athletic. And then we added Notre Dame, who everybody knows plays really good football, and Crowley. So those two schools, and then we lost Pine because they're not playing a district schedule, but we added Eunice. So that's another tough physical team. So I feel like at the end of the day, we separate our schedule into 3 sections. So you got your non-district, which we call the first season. That's usually 3 or 4 games. And then you got your district schedule. And then that's those schedules are getting you ready for the playoffs. So we want to be playing our best ball when we get to the playoffs. Well, I feel like with this schedule and this outlook right now, we're going to be a lot more battle tested when we get there.
Outstanding. Go ahead, Ski.
Speaking about battle tested, with your defense, you guys were allowing roughly 17 points per game. What do you feel were some of the factors that allowed you guys to be stout?
Well, I felt like we went good on good a lot more last year. So we were at practice. We learned how to take care of each other at practice. So we're not going to the ground, but we're playing blocks at full speed. I feel like when we had kids that were coming into their second year as starters or third year as starters, their depth of knowledge was a lot better. So we could add things. So we could play multiple coverages. We could move the fronts around. We could stem it. Coach Eddie just retired, did a really good job with our defensive line. Coach Dickens is in his second year as our defensive coordinator, and then our back end guys did a good job. So I felt like, especially up front, we were a lot stronger and bigger. Like we had a little bit more experience there, so we were able to hold the point. So it kept our backers free. And so I felt like our team speed was better, and we were a lot bigger up front, which we got everybody back basically on defense with the exception of our free safety, Devin Lejeune, who graduated, and Jordan Grissom. The rest of the team is all back. So I feel like we're just picking up where we left off in the summer.
Speaking of picking up where you left off, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, talk about like that connection between the high school and the middle school and how everything is kind of smoothly transitioning. How easier is it for you guys as far as teaching and perhaps installing when some of the concepts are perhaps quite familiar? Right.
So I think when I coached at Lafayette High, the biggest struggle for me was the middle school was separate. Like everybody viewed their middle school program as their program, and we don't want it to be that way. We feel like our football program at Church Point is a 6 through 12 situation. So when you enter the program, you're going to learn the same plays. You're going to learn the same defensive calls. You're going to learn the same work ethic, and it's just going to be a continuation. So that transition period from 8th to 9th grade is not as big because the coaches already, the expectation level. And so it's just we feel like you're part of us already, so you just play the next level. And that's kind of how I learned it from where I'm from in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Like I coached Coach Dickens when he was in the 7th grade. Like I was the only DB coach for 7 through 12. So there was a lot of continuity, and then you can add to it every day. And instead of I don't know where I'm going to high school. You already know you're a Bear when you start with us. And so we kind of just build it that way.
Go ahead, Drew.
So for the summer, what's y'all's biggest point of emphasis for the players during the offseason, and how do you want that to help with the expectations and goals going into next season and what's become a tight district?
So we want to play fast, and I feel like the 2 things that hurt us last year was being able to play a little bit faster at times, and then also that killer instinct that we get in the fourth quarter, we got to finish a game. And so we spent a lot more time in the offseason working about, doing just as many drills with plyometrics and change the direction and speed development, and also getting that time in the weight room. So we kind of changed the summer where we're 50%, speed and agilities and 50% weight room. Where in the past we were probably a little bit more focused on strength. But I think some of that comes with some experience and some age, because the guys are already strong because they've been in the weight program. And so now we can concentrate on being a little bit more athletic in space and moving outside, because at the end of the day, you got to be able to change direction and make plays, or you're not going to be a good football team.
Before we go ahead and go to commercial break, go ahead and talk a little bit about the young man that you brought here today, Jeremiah Boyd. What has he meant to this program, both on and off the field?
So VMI, their O-line coach called me the other day, and he was talking about he asked me the same question. And so I was like, well, this is probably one of the most self-disciplined people I know, because I know Jeremiah gets up every morning at like 5 o'clock and stretches because he's worried about his hip flexibility and hamstrings. So he does that, and then he eats breakfast. Like he cooks his breakfast and eats it. You know, a lot of high school kids will stay on their phone till 3 a.m. and then they don't come ready to work. You know, they're not intentional about the day. With him, we never have to worry about that. And then he's kind of taking on some leadership role where he's getting on the young kids when they're not doing things the right way. Because I feel like as an older kid, there's two different ways you can do it. One, you can just be that guy that gripes at everybody, or you can be a true leader. And a true leader figures out how to make the people around him better because he knows they need them, that we need young kids to buy into our program. So Jeremiah is always a hard worker. He's going to show up first. He's going to leave last. You know, almost every day in the offseason, he stays with our strength coach and does an extra workout. You know, so almost times like his central nervous system needs a break. So we got to tell him, like, hey, look, take a day off. We're going to have to chill out. But, no, he's a very, very polished kid. He's good in the classroom. I think his core GPA is like a 3.0. And then he's got a little nastiness on the field where he finishes blocks and plays hard through the whistle.
Love it. We can't wait to hear Boyd live. After the break, Boyd will be sitting in the chair. Coach, we want to thank you so much.
No, we appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. And stay with us. We'll be right back here on KLFY Plus after the break. Welcome back to First and 10 Summer Series here on KLFY Plus. We are now joined by Church Point senior offensive and defensive lineman Jeremiah Ford, a former KLFY Athlete of the Week for powerlifting, but now we get to talk to him about some football. So Jeremiah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Ski.
Let's talk a little bit about your summer and how on the football side. What have you been working on? What are some of the things you're trying to kind of improve upon and kind of, you know, as you look ahead to the upcoming season?
Basically, what I've been working on is like my first step. I'm focused on like getting more like fast off the ball, working on my finishing, and like, cause like I'm undersized, so like a lot of coaches like doubt me for if I'm like fast, if I'm slow, and I gotta have something to the table that I gotta bring that these bigger guys don't got.
Let's talk a little bit about these past 3 years of high school football for you at Church Point. Now entering your senior season, what are kind of the emotions like for you? Kind of just realizing, you know, this is the last ride.
I mean, it's really kind of nerve-wracking because, like, you know, it's been like the best 3 years of my life with this team, which is like my family, you know.
Talk about some of those memories. Like whenever you just think about your time with the program, what's some of the first things that kind of come back for you?
All right, so like I feel like my best year, honestly, was like sophomore year. Sophomore year was like, oh, I really got to grow up, you know, because like I'm really starting, and like it was just crazy sophomore year, honestly.
And then you took on a lot of responsibility. I mean, Coach Poole was talking to us before the break about how every morning you're making sure you're getting up early and you're treating your body right. Where does that extra like instinct to, you know, make sure you're going the extra mile for you on the football field to get top performance? Where does that come from?
I really think it comes from like my parents, you know, my grandma, my mom. They stay on me like every day, especially like my brothers on the team. You know, they always tell me I gotta be the best. I'm the strongest in the weight room. I gotta show it on the field too.
There we go. Andrew, go ahead.
And let's talk about the weight room. I got the pleasure to meet you during powerlifting. You know, I got to talk to you about that 710-pound deadlift. Told me you hit a 770 in practice. I mean, dude, that is just amazing. But tell me how that kind of translate over. You're lifting weights in the off season. During football season, you're on the field just pancaking people. So tell me how it helps out.
All right, so like if you're not strong in the weight room, you're definitely not gonna show the strength like on the field. So you gotta be like benching like if you're not benching 315 at this point, then I mean, that's your fault because you slacking in the weight room. You got to go hard every day.
I love that. What are you typically repping?
What I'm repping?
Yeah.
I'm repping 315, most definitely.
Oh, my gosh. Now he's going to end up getting 104 pancakes this year.
Who in the weight room do you look at and say, he's all right? Maybe not necessarily you, not necessarily Jeremiah, but it's like, you know what? He's not that bad.
I mean, I can name, like, a lot of people for real. Like, me. Elijah Savoy. Yeah, he was our starting nose. And Sleeve Stilly, he was our guard last year. And yeah, that's the people like who I look up in the weight room, and they push me hard too.
You play on both sides of the ball. First, what side do you enjoy better? And on top of that, you know, how do you feel like it kind of helps you on the practice field or when it translates to games, just being able to know the mechanics of both sides?
Honestly, I really like offense better.
Really? And why is that?
Because, I mean, I just could really, like, pancake people. show people I'm strong in the weight room, show people I'm strong on the field too.
And then let's talk about your quarterback, because obviously that's the offensive lineman's best friend. What do you feel like the relationship between you and your quarterback on the team is so far?
Oh, me and Grant, oh, man. I love Grant, honestly. Like, Grant, I feel like he pushed us hard, too. Because, like, he got things to work on, and, like, you know, as a team, everything not perfect, and we got things to work on, too. He always get on us, you know, tell us get out our head. We tell him the same thing, you know, because as a quarterback, I mean, you got to be calm, steady. You know, Grant, he a little hot-headed sometimes, so he calms us down, and we calm him down, too.
There we go. Go ahead, Ski.
I want to say, here we go. What is a pancake block or a block that you are most proud of? Was like, I moved that guy out of the way, and I'm really proud of it.
Not gonna lie, I'm really thinking about, like, Crowley, honestly. Like, Crowley, yeah, I really showed what I could do against Crowley.
That's
and
awesome.
Northwest too.
Really
Nice.
So let's look ahead to this season, kind of based off of how last year went. You know, y'all really successful in the regular season, and y'all make a good run in the playoffs. How do you feel like last season went in your eyes, and how do you want the program to improve upon that this year?
Honestly, I feel like last season went good. To say that was our junior year, but I feel like this year we could actually make it farther than what we did ever before. Honestly, because I feel like second round we was first round, so now we went second. I feel like we could go all the way. Honestly, we work hard every day. I mean, it comes to a point to where they tell us we gotta take breaks, you know, because I mean we always in the weight room, we on the field every day, even though we're not supposed to be, but we still put in the work. So yeah, I feel like we could go all the way.
Let's talk about the man that's sitting on the couch over there, Coach Poole. What has your relationship been like with him, and what has he meant to you, not only to your development as a player, but off the field as well?
Oh, Coach Poole, I love Coach Poole. That's my head coach. I mean, they told me ever since I was younger, like sophomore year, they told me I had to step up, become a leader. And I really took that into initiative. Like, really this year, honestly, because, you know, I still joke around with my peers and everything, but they always on my butt, telling me I got to be a leader and stuff, and always watching out for me and telling me the right things to do.
Go ahead, Andrew.
So what does Church Point football mean to you? You know, you're going into your senior year. If you just had to give me like a sentence or two of, you know, what everything is culminated as, what would you say?
Oh, that's my family, honestly. Church Point, I just love Church Point. I love the city. I love the environment. I love everything about it. Church Point football, especially, because, you know, we go hard every day.
Go ahead, Ski.
So going into this upcoming season, 2 questions. What team goals do you have? What individual goals you have for yourself?
Team goals, I see make it to state. And, you know, not like another goal. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know another goal. But I knew for, like, my personal goal, I want to finish with, like, over 100 pancakes. That's my personal goal.
Hey, I called it not too long ago. And I said he was going to go for 104 now.
You did say it.
Hey.
He's got the goal in mind.
So before we go ahead and wrap this thing up, let's just go ahead with a couple different rapid-fire questions for you. First things first, what is your go-to song in the locker room before a game that's going to fire you up?
I feel like Mary J. Blige.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Hey.
That's
So some people got the hype, some people got a little calm. I like that, and he seems like a smooth cat. So let's go ahead. Who would you say is your favorite NFL/college player to watch and kind of, you know, take bits and pieces from?
NFL. I see Willie Lampkin.
Hey, deep cut. There we go. I like that.
We talked about pancakes throughout this entire interview. I need to ask you, what is your favorite type of pancake?
And how many could you put down?
I mean, I'm a real simple guy. So like, I like my pancakes, you know, like some good syrup, Auntie Anne's, you know, like, cause I like mine like fluffy. I like fluffy pancakes.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing like So yeah.
So
That's
simple. Butter and
Yeah.
syrup, no extras. That's respectable.
Outstanding.
That's respectable.
Before we go ahead and wrap things up, what would be a message for your teammates and the community as a whole as you kind of enter this last season and, you know, kind of just thinking about all the memories that y'all have made at Church Point over these past couple of years?
I want to say that we got to keep going hard, keep putting on the show every night, and keep pushing one another to become great and to make our city really well known.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're hungry for some flapjacks because we got pancakes coming at you via the Church Point Battling Bears this season with Jeremiah. Jeremiah, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we will see you next time right here on KLFY Plus.